Happy Easter, everyone! Or Passover, or whatever it is that you choose to observe or not observe. More power to you. Anyway, it's Harry here, and today I wanted to talk to you about reading and books. So, I have kind of always been an avid reader. I remember definitely like elementary school and go to the library, all that stuff, and middle school, high school, reading a lot, and even in college, quite a bit of reading. Not like super into it, but like enough into it. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I've been stuck for the past couple of years on a genre, and I feel ashamed about the genre because I'm 30 and I've been stuck on young adult literature. That's, I would say, 99% of what I read. Let's say 90% of what I read right now, aside from any academic work. I read a lot of academic work, I read a lot of research. Okay, that stuff aside, what am I reading for? Can't even say for fun because I read a lot of academic stuff for fun, but like, what do I read for leisure? And it's been young adult. And I've wondered this about myself for a while now. Like, it seems kind of petty. I'm like, is it this like all the women who watch like Lifetime movies and all the Hallmark stuff at Christmas, they're just like living in some fantasy world? And to an extent, I think it is that. But one of the things that I love about this young adult literature is I'm not just reading young adult literature, I read young adult queer literature. And it's one of the few places that I find the queer characters that I'm searching for. And yes, it's usually got a love story or something to that. But it's got those queer characters that I read, that I never got to read, when I was younger. And so I'm vicariously living through them, I suppose, a little bit, but it's an easy read too. I do a lot of audiobooks when I'm walking Earl and when I'm driving to school and stuff. So it's just nice, something easy to like pop into, and it gets me kind of motivated because you get in the plot line. So I had set a goal. It was a pretty basic goal for this year to read or listen to at least 12 books this year because, one a month. Especially being in school, I'm reading, I would say, 50, 60 pages a week of research. I thought that was a pretty decent goal, okay? And I'm actually well past that, so we're in the 4th month, and I think I've read 6 books, 7 books, so, like, I'm doing pretty well. But I'm in a book right now, and it is just hitting a lot of feels, and I needed to talk about that. So, there's actually been 2 books this year, because I've really tried to find some books with trans characters in it, and that's actually every book that I've read almost this year has been a trans character. So there's actually been 2 books in the past that have actually decently stuck with me. Symptoms of Being Human and The Dangerous Art of Blending In. Like, both of those were pretty solid, like, got me in the feels, like I could relate to certain things of them. But I'm reading this one now because you know what I'm going to say about the youth, the young adult literature that I find, especially on trans issues. There's a lot on male to female. There's not necessarily a lot on female to male characters. There, I can relate to some of that. Obviously, there's this like uniqueness about being trans that you realize you're just in the wrong body, Like, there's some things that you can really relate to. But in general, like when they're talking about like wanting to wear dresses or wanting to have heels and like all that stuff, like I just can't relate. But this book that I'm reading right now, I think there's a lot of reasons that it's hitting me at home. But it's called Girl Man's Up. Of course it is, right? But yeah, I feel bad because I think the main character is like 14, and it's like, you're half my age. Like, I should not be relating to this. But everything about it is just like, yeah, that was me, and that still is me to an extent. It's like shit. Like, did I write this? Like, so, it's got this girl who's growing up and has an older brother. I didn't have an older brother, but has an older brother that's always kind of looking out for her, but she was always, like, one of the guys and wanted to be seen as one of the guys, but, like, it's kind of thrown in her face all the time that she's not one of the guys, and they kind of make fun of her, and I'm like, yes, preach it, sister! Like, yeah, that's what it's like. And figures out that she likes girls, but that, like, she's scared because she's not sure if they're seeing her as a girl or a boy, and I'm like, oh my god, like, yeah, okay. And just the family dynamics, there's a lot of stuff with that is just like, oh yeah, yep, that's it, you're right, I can't speak back at home, you're just talking about me right now, sister, brother, whatever. I mean, I haven't finished the book yet, so she's still female, but she feels like she's a man, and that's what it is. I mean, that's, like, she doesn't feel like she's a man, she just doesn't feel like she's a girl, and she feels like she fits in with the boys, wants to be seen as a boy, but that doesn't mean she wants to be male. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, it feels weird, because, like, I don't necessarily want to be male. I mean, ideally, yes, obviously. And, if I could redo all of birth and everything, I would want to be boy at birth. But the way it is, like, I just want to be seen as who I am. Like, I'm just me. And that's what she says. And it's just so true. The other thing, I feel like a horrible person for saying this, but all of the different excuses, like, they're all things at one point that I've said to myself at one time or another. Like, oh, maybe they just did, like, circumcision wrong when I was a baby, and, like, they just made me a girl because they botched that, and that's what's up. Like, I'm just waiting for that to be the case. Or, just, like, things like that. That I hate to admit that I've thought, but, like, that has legit been, I was like, this would solve a lot of things. It'd make my life a heck of a lot easier if I was just a boy. And that's what happened. A botched circumcision. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, there are so many good parallels. Like, even, a lot of these young adult books have love, and it's like finding first loves or finding, like, their first attractions. And to an extent, it's more like, I would like to live through them, but, like, it doesn't fully click. Like, it's really nice. It's like those Hallmark movies. Like, it's really nice, but, like, this isn't real, But, like, for her, I'm not saying it's real, but, like, it makes sense. Like, she's falling in love with the girl, and all of the things are just like, yes, that's exactly what I feel. I don't know what to do with my hands. I know I should know these things because we have the same parts anatomically, but I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what you're thinking, and I don't know how to interact with you, and I'm not sure why you're attracted to me, and, like, all these things, and it's like, yes, this is me in a book. And it's taken me 30 years to find that character. 30 freaking years to find the character that I'm like, oh, that's what I've been living like my whole life. I mean, could you imagine, like, growing up either straight or cis, and, like, knowing, like, this, or cis and straight, both of those, like, imagine that, like, having so many freaking examples of, oh, this is what it's like when I, grow up, or looking back and, like, yeah, that's how it's done, like, this makes sense, like, oh, this is how you date, this is how you talk to people and interact, and how society views you, and all this stuff. What is that like? Because I feel like I'm creating my own rule book, and that's okay, I'm okay with it. Sometimes bitter, but I'm okay with it. Yet, for most of the world, they have, like, it's been written, like, they have concepts and ideas, and they can relate, and I never could relate. I still find it hard to relate, but I finally found that freaking character that it's like, hot damn, I'm not alone. There are books that are made up about me. Damn. And I never would have said that. I never would have thought. I just thought that, like, no one could relate that fully to books. That's what everyone does. Like, you find books that are really damn close, but you never could. No, you can actually find books where it's like clicks. Just thought you should know. Anyway, that's my recommendation. I haven't finished the book. It's kind of long. It's like 10 hours of an audiobook. I'm halfway through it. I'm also one of those crazy people that listens to it at double the speed. So, there's that. But, it's pretty good. I've got another book lined up after that. I think it's Trans Like Me. We'll see. I tried to find more female to male characters. That was, like, my specific search. I know I need to move on from young adult literature, but it's so easy right now. It's an easy read right now, especially when I'm in school. We'll see beyond that when I start working here, if I can move into maybe some more progressive ones. I also need to really start I want to start reading about, like, trans history and learning that stuff. But for now, I mean, there are certain things where it's just like I need that hook, that story to get me interested so that, you know, I'm listening to them. Anyway, let me know if like you get stuck if in these like weird young adult type things, because I guess I feel like it correlates with the fact that I sometimes feel emotionally stunted because I never got to live my teenage years as the person I was meant to be, or even my 20s. And for as like far ahead and like as much as I can interact socially with people, like from an emotional standpoint, I guess I feel sometimes like I'm that high schooler still who doesn't really know what to do. And like even like asking a person out on a date, like that seems so terrifying. Like it doesn't click. It's like, oh, I could do this, or people do this, like this is normal. But like for me, that doesn't feel normal. And that's because, one, of my upbringing, but two, because like I was never allowed to be the person that I wanted to be. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. There's no, you know, it's not a bad thing. But now it's like I know these things. I know, and like I want to be that person. And I can be that person, which is so crazy. It's just so crazy. Guys, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We just gotta get through it. We can do it. That's my rant on young adult literature. Maybe I'll emotionally mature in the next year, or 2, or 10. We'll see. Thanks for listening, and you have a fantastic Easter. Bye.